Ferguson joins us now on Newsday. Welcome and thank you very much for talking to us. First of all, let's get to the very latest on the story if we can. Overnight, Danny Jordaan says he is now welcoming the opportunity to go to court to clear his name. He had earlier dismissed this offer that you made of restorative justice. What's your response to his decision on this particular issue?
Well, I think, first of all, my decision to come to lay an actual charge after I've spent so much time trying to find another way, restorative justice process. It's been a very difficult journey, and sometimes it feels like I've got to be who I'm not in order to be who I am. And with Jordaan, he's a symbol for me also of a kind of a leadership that has got contaminated and has in a way been endorsed and protected by the culture surrounding him. And we are now at a moment in time where we can shake the tree, where the Me Too, hashtag Me Too, has given women that normally wouldn't be able to disclose an opportunity to speak the unspeakable, to do the undoable. And if we can elevate it into a sense of collective, that it's not just my story, it's every woman's story that has, and a man who has experienced assault, that we've got this opportunity in time to really make inroads and be effective.
You've repeatedly said that you wanted to follow the path of restorative justice. Why did you want to do that, and why after 5 months did you give up?
Well, I think it's my initial intent was really honoring the journey that South Africa has done, where we've had to look at apartheid offences, unspeakable atrocities, and in the Truth and Reconciliation embrace, be able to meet each other with mercy, but also taking ownership of what happened. And I felt with Danny and I both being cadres as such, we both ANC members, surely we must be able to meet each other as human beings without putting it under a carpet, but bring it forth and in a mature way acknowledge an offence was committed, acknowledge that there is woundedness on both sides, because the man that's doing that kind of thing is a wounded man. And he's a representative in the sporting field. You know, he's a powerful symbol. I had hoped we could do that, Jeremy.
And as noble, Jennifer Ferguson, as it sounds, some might say it was a little idealistic, that it was never going to work out the way you wanted it to.
But I'm an idealist. I believe in that, you know, and I feel 100% sincerity in what I did there. But I can also feel that now I've landed, it's like being a tree back in my home again. I'm rooted, I'm not in Sweden, it's not an abstract construct. I can actually feel what my body feels like. I can do this thing, I can venture into this intimidating place called a police station and go through that, which can be very humiliating. And for me there were aspects that were completely mind-blowing when the constable says, you know, where's your medical examination report, and why did you wait for so long? And I'm an empowered woman, and I got, you know, if I hadn't a friend there, and he ended up talking to the man who was my friend, you know, it was easier for him to talk to the man. But it's empowering me, because in Mpumalanga, out in Machadodorp, it's 1,000 times worse. And women and children especially, how do you come with this shameful aspect that you don't want to really talk about and deal with? Sometimes it's your husband, sometimes it's a family member. So restorative justice, I'm still 100% convinced, has to run parallel to criminal procedures, because we've got to reintegrate the victim of rape back into society, address her family's concerns. We've also dealing with, say, Danny. It's not just my family, it's Danny's family. And for that, I have to also put out my expression of sorrow and distress on some level, that they have to also face this humiliation and real challenge. Everybody gets affected by these kind of violations.
Sorrow, distress, anger? Are you
anger,
annoyed at the way this has turned out?
No, I'm not, way beyond anger. I feel a kind of righteous indignation, you could say, which is what motivates us as activists. But I'm more than that. I'm convinced that we are able to, if we join together, we can effect enormous change. We can address this terrible scourge of sexual violence that is culturally protected, that's filtered down from presidency, comes down. Kwezi was a, Fezekile Kuzwaya was she was sacrificed on the altar of that terrible trial. So we've got all these examples of where justice hasn't served victims. But in a way, I feel called, and because Danny's a symbol, we've got to rise to this. We're going to do it, and nobody's going to emerge unwounded, but maybe we can shift things a bit.
How, in your mind's eye, did you see that process of restorative justice unfolding? I cannot believe that the scenario hadn't played over and over in your mind as to how it would have worked out the moment the two of you might have been given that opportunity to sit across from each other.
I think it could have been an extraordinary process if we had come in, maybe not with lawyers, but we came in with our families. We sat around a table and we had selected media, reputable people that could witness this and facilitate a facilitation that would allow a conversation, which would, of course, it would have to be that we acknowledge an offense was committed.
Is the door still open to that?
If I had to close the door, I wouldn't be a human being, and I wouldn't be a South African. I wouldn't be a South African cadre for liberation, because in order to free ourselves, we have to learn forgiveness, we have to learn mercy, we have to recognize our common humanity and our common woundedness, so that door will never be closed.
People will still question why it's taken 5 months to lay the charges, and initially why it took you such a long time to go public with this in the first place.
I mean, I wasn't ready before, I can say that 100%. You know, I only told selective people, 3 doctors. And this process, that kind of question, the only person who can ask a question like that is somebody who hasn't experienced sexual violation or rape. You can die with that secret, and many people go to the grave with that. Hashtag Me Too.
I absolutely respect that.
Yeah.
Was there a moment, perhaps after the conversation with that doctor, where you said, now is the time I feel empowered to do that?
It wasn't after the doctor. In fact, I've had, but Me Too, I felt I could, it's been a process for me. And Jeremy, my strength lies in the fact that I didn't just come out and lay a charge. I've come out and I've said, what are we going to do with this? The courts are going to serve probably you with your wall of lawyers and your limitless access to finance. I have people helping me out of the goodness of heart and the belief that I'm speaking the truth. I've got the highest legal counsel that's volunteering, saying, just pay my transport. You know, I'm getting gifted. I'm standing naked. I haven't got any. I'm owning my story. Where's Jordaan? It's a wall of lawyers. It's a wall of strategic statements. I'm not coming with that. I'm truthful. I am what I am. I've got, in a way, I've got nothing to lose on some level, and I've got everything financially. They can take my house if I did a civil claim. I'm very vulnerable in that.
How prepared are you for this mentally?
I think I am as prepared as I can hope to be, but also because,
given that it's uncharted waters that you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. But because I'm a spiritualist, I pray, I meditate, and I embrace that there is a power of goodness that seeks to re-establish balance and harmony where there's been interruption. And we've got an area, and in our past we've got many areas that have been disrupted. And how to restore balance, I'm not alone in this. I think all of South Africa is actually ready to rise to this. There's a new spirit of activism. We've been so fatigued and felt so betrayed. But there's a feeling like we can, if we are obedient to truth, if we take also a risk of personal courage, of disclosure, and the fact that we can work together, dissolve all the things that divide us, I think we can do amazing work. And thus, hashtag We Too, and the Baxter Theatre, I've got beautiful concerts coming up.
And all of that goes to your nature, to your spiritual nature, as you put it. Yeah. But it's going to be very difficult legally. Experts are saying that the only way in which you're going to be able to back up these allegations are from what you told friends. Yeah. Ultimately, it will come down to one person's word against the other. And as you rightly say, it is going to become very ugly.
And it's not only going to be me, because there are other women that are coming forward. And we're in a very delicate process, beautiful, courageous steps they're taking. We are honoring the courage that it's taking, and there's going to be more women coming forward. We've got a handful, and there's going to be maybe 2 handfuls So I'm not alone. And that also was a huge verification for me. And even if we don't win the court case, we may not win in the courts of law like Kwesi did not win, but on the ground and in the annals of time, we will win, because I believe that truth triumphs.
Have you found it in your heart to forgive him yet?
Completely. I don't think I would be able to do this if I hadn't, as a human being, looked at him and seen a wounded child in his eyes, to recognize that maybe he is a victim of abuse, and maybe that he's a victim of a sickness that needs therapy, that needs help, but I can't do his journey for him. But as a fellow human being, I cannot endorse his behavior and his misconduct, but I can acknowledge him as a fellow human being on this planet, as a fellow comrade. I can acknowledge him for that.
And it took you a long time to get there, though. That must have been a very difficult
Completely. And forgiveness is ongoing. You know, it's ongoing. Sometimes memories come up and you have a wave of anger, a wave of sorrow, a wave of shame. It's a process. It keeps, but my commitment, 100%, as so many thousands have done in our country. It's not just me. We've made to be where we are in our country has taken the majority of our people to walk in a spirit of forgiveness. So I'm a student. I'm a student in my country.
Are you frightened about what lies ahead of you?
I'm not frightened, because on the 4th of April, I'm stepping onto a stage and I'm going to sing, and I've got a lot of beautiful musicians with me. 4th to the 7th of April, Baxter Theatre. There's going to be audiences singing with us, their choirs, and we are really, as creative people, we take this atrocity, this area of atrocity, we transform it, and we create something new. We empower ourselves. We have sung our struggle. We're going to sing it again.
Jennifer Ferguson, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you.